Welcome back to Mike's Gun World. What do we have today? We got a Rossi R92. Cool as hell, lever action. This one's chambered in 45 long Colt. I'm getting into cowboy shooting, and this is going to be the rifle that I'm using this season. We're only about a month away from starting. I got my coach gun ready to go. I got my two peacemakers ready to go, and the R92 needs good cleaning. Now, the thing with the R92, you actually have to disassemble it in order to clean it. So you're going to have to take the finger lever off, pull down the locking lugs, actually take the bolt out, take the trigger group out, obviously take the rear stock off, and then take the hammer group out. And that's the only way you can clean it, which could be intimidating for some people. It's really not all that bad. Probably takes me all of about 10 minutes to actually take it down, then I can clean it and put it back together. It's a pretty simple operation. I know there's a bunch of other videos on it. I thought I'd do one too, just because I think it's cool as hell. It's my gun, it's my channel, and I wanted to pass along some knowledge on my channel. So before we get started, if you are liking my content, please hit like, subscribe, share, comment down below. We're a very new channel, and we certainly could use the support. Appreciate it. All right, let's get going on the teardown. All right, so the first thing we always do is make sure our firearm is safe. So let's open up the breech, look inside. I can see there's no round in the chamber. There's nothing down in the magazine. Rack it a couple of times. We're empty. We're good to go. Point in a safe direction. Pull the trigger. We're ready to start. The very first thing we want to do is we want to get the rear stock off. So there's a screw right here in the upper tang. Whenever you're using bits or screwdrivers, make sure you get something that fits in that screw nice and tight. You don't want to mar it. You don't want to open up the slot any. You want a good fit in there. So let's get that guy out. And this screw really goes all the way through to the lower tang. There we go. And just pull the rear stock off. Now, one of the things we're going to have to do is we're going to have to take pressure off the mainspring. And inside here, right here, there's just a little pinhole. And I use a paper clip. As you cock, it's almost impossible to see, but that hole is right around here. What we do want to do is pull the hammer all the way back and get this paper clip into that hole so that we can take the pressure off the mainspring. The next thing we want to do is we're going to take out the bolt pin screw right here. So again, make sure you get a bit that fits correctly. You don't want to mar this beautiful firearm up. This is just a tiny little screw, and behind it is the bolt pin. Just a tiny screw, see right there? Then in here is the bolt pin. And what we're going to do is take a 1/16 punch from the other side, and we're going to just gently drift that pin out. Let's see if we can push it. No, we're going to have to tap on it just a little bit. It should be out the other side. Okay. When the pin comes out, there are two distinct sides to this pin. There's a chamfered side, or kind of a beveled side right here, and then there's a serrated side. As we put this back into the gun, the beveled end goes left to right on the frame. So now we're ready to actually pull out the finger lever and the locking lugs. open this up. They should really drop right out of the firearm like that. And boy, you can see there's a lot of oil and grease in here. We'll get this all cleaned up. But the locking lugs do go on in a certain way. There's a stud on this side, which is the left side of the gun, and then on the right side, this locking lug just fits on here like this. And as we put the gun back together, you want to make sure you have your locking lugs in the right direction. The next thing we need to do is we're going to take out the hammer screw, which is right here. So again, make sure you get a bit that fits that. And you can see, I'm second owner on this gun. I can see somebody used something that was a little bit larger than the actual screw in here and put a scratch in the frame, which is a little disappointing, but it happens. I try not to let it happen when I'm doing things, but sometimes it happens. So this is actually going to release the hammer. It's going to take some pressure off. It's going to release a lower tang, which we can start to pull out now. This one fights you a little bit. There we go. Pulling out the lower tang pulls out your trigger. Boy, here is a lot of dirt in there. This needs I told you this needed good cleaning. Like I said, I'm second owner on this firearm. And then your whole hammer group and mainspring drop out. That's it. Like I said, 10 minutes. I don't even think that was 10 minutes to take it apart, quite honestly. I think that was more like about 3. But at this point, you can slide the bolt out, and then you want to be careful because there is on the bolt right here is the ejector assembly group that sits right in here. And it'll slide out the front of your bolt, and there's 3 pieces here. There is the actual ejector, there's a spring, and then there's a collar. There's a collar in here that I can see got stuck. You don't want to lose that collar. It's just about out. It's right on the edge of coming out. Okay, there's the collar that I'm talking about. And that sits right on the ejector rod above the spring. So there you have it. There is your teardown of your Rossi R92 Winchester 1892 replica. Again, a little intimidating at first, but honestly, it really shouldn't be. There's not much to it. You're ready to clean it. You're ready to get into the breech, get down the barrel. Get into the breech and then get down the barrel, do your cleaning. And obviously we want to clean up all these parts too, the bolt and the ejector, the trigger, the hammer, mainspring, finger lever, and the locking lugs. And just give it a nice light coat of oil. Some guys would say, let's put some grease in here. Be very careful where you put grease. I've seen guys want to put grease on the locking lugs just to make it slide a little bit easier. I personally don't really grease anything here. I like to just I use Ballistol, primarily Ballistol, to clean all my firearms and give a nice nice light coating of oil on everything. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this, and then I'm going to get back to the reassembly of the R92. Okay, so let's get to the reassembly of the R92. First thing we're going to do is we're going to put the ejector, make sure you've got the collar and spring in place. It slides right in the front, and it has like 2 little tangs right here, slide right into the bolt. No problem at all. Then we're going to take our bolt. This is the top part. This is your extractor. And then the bolt just slides right into the frame like that. Okay, so the next thing we're going to want to do is we're going to get the hammer up into place and approximately lined up. You know, this hole right here lining up with the hammer bolt. And then we're going to want to get the lower tang on. It's got a couple slots right here that fit into the frame. But we do want to be careful. We need to keep pressure on the trigger and keep the trigger pulled back as we're putting the lower tang in place. Otherwise, it's going to pin your hammer down. And this lower tang fits, got a really snug fit to it. We're going to just slide that in. And we want to make sure that we properly seat the mainspring onto the lower tang as we're doing this. So there we are, we're completely back in place. The hammer group is not quite lining up the way I want it to. There it is. I can see it through here. It's probably really almost impossible to see. It's almost like I pushed the tang in too far. Get another pin in here. Another roll punch, I mean. Here we go. All right, we got the holes lined up properly. So now we want to get the hammer screw pushed through. We're not quite lined up. We were. The hammer slid on me, so there. I gotta put a little pressure on the hammer, hold the trigger at the same time, and slip the bolt into place. Well, it'd be nice if we were using the right bolt, wouldn't it? We want the hammer bolt, not the bolt for the stock. Okay, there we go. So again, word of caution, use the correct bit for the screw, and then let's screw that into place. So now we got our lower tang, trigger, hammer all in place. Pretty simple. Okay, so the next thing we're going to want to do is we're going to get the finger lever and the locking lugs back into place. Now the hole here in the finger lever is really going to line up once we get it seated with the bolt stud or the bolt pin. And what we want to do is pull the hammer back and open the bolt all the way. Now, before we do that, I did say there was a right way and a wrong way to have your locking lugs on. So on the left side of the gun, your locking lug has a stud, fits through the slot here. On the right side, you've got a slotted locking lug that holds on here like this, and then there's two grooves on top. So we want to hold the bolt all the way back and just slide the locking lugs and the finger lever up into our bolt. And then gently get the finger lever going forward, and everything just sort of seats itself in place. Now, we've got our finger lever almost in place. There it is, totally in place. And we want to look down through here to make sure we're seated properly, and we are. And we want our bolt pin. Remember, there's a chamfered side and a serrated side. Chamfered side goes left to right into the gun. And we want to just gently tap that down with your punch. It's going to tap right through the bolt. And you got to be careful. If you put it too far in, the bolt won't move, and if you don't put it far enough, the bolt won't move. Right now you see the bolt isn't moving, so it needs to go a little bit further in. Tap it in, Nope, still not moving. There we are. So everything's moving as it should be, which is awesome. At this point, we can take the pressure off the mainspring, pull our paper clip out. And everything's working correctly here. So then we get our bolt pin screw put back into place. Sound like a broken record. Make sure you got the right bit when you're putting that in the slot. Screw that into place. And everything is working as it should. So all we got to do now is put the rear stock back on, slide it up in there, take the bolt, screw it in place. And we're done. That is your Rossi R92 disassembly, or field strip, I guess, for cleaning, and then how to reassemble. I'll tell you what, I love this firearm. I like to take it out in the field and shoot it. Once we get the range reset up with all the new targets, I do have all new targets coming. We're gonna get out there and we're gonna do some cowboy action shooting. So once again, if you're liking the content, you're finding it helpful, hit like, subscribe, share, leave some comments down below. Always appreciated. Thanks for the support, and we will see you soon.